Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Committee on Zoning. Will it please come to order? At this time, members, I would like to welcome committee members Tupola, Kiaina, Cordero, and Chair Tommy Waters. Although remote oral testimony is being permitted, this is a regular in-person meeting and not a remote meeting by interactive conference technology under HRS Section 92-3.7. HRS for the members and the general public is the Hawaii Revised Statutes of the State of Hawaii. Therefore, the meeting will continue withoutstanding loss of audiovisual communication with remote testifiers or loss of the public broadcast of the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in two ways. First, remotely, and in person in the council chamber. Oral testimony will be allowed when each agenda item is taken up in the following order. First, the remote testimony, and two, the in-person testimony in the council chamber. Before testifying, each person shall state their full name and the agenda item they are testifying on. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 1-minute presentation per item. All persons who have registered to testify remotely by video conference or phone will be called upon first. When your name is called, please monitor your screen and activate your audio feed when prompted. The following are some friendly reminders and tips for us to consider. Video conference from a very quiet location if possible. If you are watching the proceedings on Honolulu, please mute your device at the time you are called to testify. 3, when the timer on the screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. For those who are joining us by telephone only, please press *9 to indicate your desire to speak. I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, please press *6 to unmute yourself when prompted. Once all the remote testifiers have testified, I will proceed to the in-person testimony in the council chamber. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to speak following the oral testimonies of the registered speakers. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. And as a courtesy, please turn off all cell phones. So let's move on, members, at this time, moving to item number 1, Resolution 24-46. This resolution urges the Building Board of Appeals to improve their procedures for notifying the public of its meetings and making its orders available for public inspection. Presently, at this point in time, we do have the administration, Ms. Dawn Takeuchi Apuna, Director of the Department of Planning and Permitting. Oh, well, I'm happy to see that Council Member Matt Wire, also a member of the Zoning Committee here, that is present. Is there anyone? Okay. The Administration, Department of Planning and Permitting, please. Liz.
Good morning, Chair and committee members. I'm Elizabeth Krieger, the Land Use Permits Division Chief for the Department of Planning and Permitting. And I'm sorry, Chair, I missed the question.
On Resolution 24-46, this resolution urges the Building Board of Appeals to improve its procedures for notifying the public of its meetings and making its order available for public inspection.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, why don't we have the chair? Come on up.
Great. Let me introduce the chair then.
Hi, Chairman. Hi, Committee. Chris Hong, Chair of the Building Board of Appeals.
Okay, please proceed with the resolution. Requesting that you folks be much more.
In regards to Resolution 2446, the board has received the resolution, and in fact, even prior to receiving this resolution, we have made some changes to the way we do things. And I would like to preface that I'm here speaking as chair of the board and not speaking on behalf of the entire board itself. So in terms of the resolution on the 3 points that were made, Point number one, posting board agendas on the webpage, that is now done. So people can see that our next meeting on March 8th will be posted there. We've also created a frequently asked questions that is attached both to the application for the Building Board of Appeals. It's a one-pager that basically explains kind of what the process is and helps to aid any applicants to see whether or not it is worth them pursuing it, or if they have other things to consider. We also have a dedicated link, or will have a dedicated link to this one-page FAQ that will be prominently posted on the page to help with distribution of information. The agenda has always been posted on the city events calendar, but we are, again, adding in this redundancy just to make sure that information is going to be on there. And we will also make sure that from now on, starting on our next agenda, that all agendas will remain up on the website so people can look at the past agendas. In terms of point number 2, provide for the public an email subscription option for receiving board meeting notifications and agendas. We're still looking into this. As of right now, we don't have the administrative capacity to manage and maintain our own email database, but this is something that we're looking into, and then we'll continue to discuss with DPP overall. Point number 3, read to the public its decision of orders upon approval and make all findings of facts, conclusions of law, and decisions and orders available for public inspection immediately following their approval. So for this, what we've done is on the last 3 board meetings, I have read as part of the agenda when we approve our finding of facts, conclusions of law, and decisions of order, I read the board decision at the hearing itself. Now, in terms of distributing the complete finding of facts, conclusions of law, and decisions of orders, our rules still currently stipulate that the appellant has to receive it first. As of now, that has entailed, mailing it certified mail return receipt, but we're going to look into being able to emailing the appellant right after the meeting. After it has been emailed, we feel that fulfills the requirement to notify the appellant first. And from there, we will then make copies available per request. Yeah, as of right now, findings of facts, conclusions, law, and decisions of order are available per request by the public, but to this date, I am unaware that our administrator has received any requests for any of those copies. But so we are amending what we're doing to add in email distribution to the appellant in addition to mailing a hard copy mailing a hard copy return receipt to the appellant and also giving hard copies to DPP itself. So that's per the 3 points within Resolution 2446, that is currently how the Building Board of Appeal is addressing those points. I'm here to answer any other questions from the committee.
Mr. Hong, thank you very much. Before we continue, I'd like to introduce our Vice Chair of the Zoning Committee, Councilmember Tyler DeSantos Stam. Okay. Members, any questions for Mr. Hong? Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Chair Hong. Thank you very much for being here. I just would like a point to request clarification. If documents, and you mentioned that normally documents haven't been requested, but if documents are requested to the Board of Appeals or to the Department relating to decisions by the Board of Appeals, do the regular Chapter 92 Uniform Information Practices Act requests where there's a fee for that, or is that just available for those appellants?
Mr. Pang, Dwayne Pang, Corporation Counsel.
Dwayne Pang, Deputy Corporation Counsel. Yes, the Building Board of Appeals decisions, final decisions are public records available to the public. If there's a fee, well, the rules are there, and if it's voluminous, we will charge.
Okay, thank you very much.
Copying charges.
Okay, so for me, then that's a yes for regarding the obtaining of public records through HRS Chapter 92.
They're no different than any other public records.
Okay, and so, but this request, one of the points of the request is just to have it publicly posted and emailed or distributed and available, as opposed to being available for records being obtained through records?
92F doesn't require posting. That's more of a practical thing, and you can, if there is capacity at DPP's website, that's for DPP to make a determination. But, that is an alternative, but it's not required on the 92F.
Okay, thank you. And I think that's what the difference is in with this resolution's request, is to have it also available publicly.
Yeah, but I think the request should be directed to DPP because, the Building Board of Appeals itself, they're just volunteers. And I don't know what capacity that BBA has. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, members, any further questions? Okay, Chair Waters, followed by Councilwoman Tupola.
Oh, I'll defer to you. Go ahead.
Okay,
Oh,
Councilman.
thank you. Just real quick for Chair Hong, thank you for being here. In our brief meeting, I met with you, and one of them was about number 3. To read to the public its decisions of orders, and we had made mention that perhaps it might be advantageous for the Building Board of Appeals to have some legal assistance at the hearings. Is that still something that you think would help in this instance when we have the legalities of the decisions of orders?
We do have representation. So Erica Osterkamp is Deputy Corporation Counsel. She sits next to me at all hearings. So we do have representation.
And then when they represent, are they able to make those decisions instantaneously in the meeting, or is it more of they listen, you guys debrief, and then you would be reading this at a future meeting once the decision has been reviewed by lawyers?
So when we're at a hearing, after the hearing has concluded, then we move to executive session where the board discusses the case and comes to a decision. After that, that information is drafted into the finding of facts, and then the board receives a drafted finding of facts, conclusion of law, decision, and order. And once we've reviewed that, then that item gets moved onto the agenda for approval. So at that point, if the board moves and then approves that the finding of facts, conclusion of law, and decision of order, then I read off the board's decision on that matter. So in terms of
Timeline.
yeah, in terms of live feedback, so Corporation Counsel sits next to me. So if there are issues that come up that I'm unable or I'm unsure of, then I do get live feedback, and her role is to advise the board. And so she is there to assist me and assist the board during the hearings itself, but there is review time after the actual hearing for us to draft and then review and then approve the finding of facts, conclusion, law. So in previous instances, this has caused a lot of the delay in getting that public, is that it takes time to get it drafted up. So once we have the hearing, then it has to go through staff to get drafted up, then gets reviewed, and then the same minimum five members of the board need to be present to sign it wet signature. So when we've had quorum issues that, and specifically, I think one of the cases in particular that probably triggered this resolution, it took several meetings for us to get those 5 members to appear. And again, it does need to be wet signed. So that is part of the issue that caused a delay in getting that particular finding of facts out.
Just for clarity, the same 5 that sat in the hearing have to be in the hearing when the finding of facts is read?
Yes, because they were the ones that proceeded over that case and then voted on the outcome for that.
I see. Last question. Your board is trying to come up with some FAQs to just assist the public. How is that going?
So that has been posted. So it is part of the application itself. And we are moving to put that as a dedicated link as well. Because if you go to our page right now, there's a big FAQ button, but that's for general DPP. So we're trying to make it clearer that to put a FAQ right on the page itself. And if you would like, I can read some of the questions that we currently have if the committee would like some more information on our current FAQs.
Chair, is that okay, just in summary short?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
So it's a quick one page. So the questions that we address is 1, can the BBA reverse or change an action by Department of Planning and Permitting, for example, a notice of order? Second question is, why is the burden on me to prove one of these things occurred? 3 is, what will the appeal hearing be like? 4 is, does this mean I need a lawyer? 5 is, can the BBA alter findings or reduce fines for extenuating circumstances? And then 6 is, what can I do if I disagree with the decisions of the Building Board of Appeals? So these are just kind of the general questions that we find that people who are not used to the process kind of run into. So we just wanted to produce some of this preliminary information. We are continuing to work on other ways to help expedite the process. As I believe I mentioned before, our calendar is filled up for 2024 and into 2025. I believe we're already probably halfway through 2025 with cases. We are meeting twice a month to try and expedite the process. And so far, we've made we made every meeting in 2024 so far. And so we're doing our best to expedite, but we feel that some of these cases with a little bit more education may not come to our desk to say. And so again, we're working to see if we can come up with other solutions to be able to expedite this process, because we understand that permits take a while, and if applicants are waiting a year to be heard from the Building Board of Appeals, that causes a lot of stress, emotional and potentially financial. So we're doing the best we can to help expedite and relieve that pressure, and issuing these FAQs we saw as an easy way for us to help with the education side of things.
Thank you so much for your thorough answer. And I just wanted to applaud you. As chair, you're doing an outstanding job. I meet with various commission members, and no one asked you guys to do a FAQ, but it's super helpful. And I think that the public will be advantaged by being able to read through this and understand it. So thank you, Chair Hong. I'll yield to Chair Waters.
Mr. Hong, would you mind if we invite your Deputy Corporation Counsel to say a few words also on behalf of the board? Would you like to say a few words, Ms. Osterkamp? No? Okay. That way it's not recorded. All right. Okay, Chair Waters.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, first and foremost, thank you so much for your service. I know it's a lot of work, and this is voluntary and unpaid, so I really, really appreciate your hard work and organization. And second, thank you for being here today. That was really, really a nice presentation and super helpful. And sounds like we're on the same page, right? You know exactly what I was talking about after this last appeal that went through, and appreciate the decision as well. But I just had a quick question, and you basically pointed out everything that I had questions about. But one thing came up is, who drafts the findings of fact and conclusions of law? Does DPP or Corp Counsel draft that for you?
DPP currently drafts it, and we review it.
And then Corp Counsel reviews it?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
And then you read out the decision. You have to give notice to the appellant, and then the public can get access to it.
To the full, complete finding of facts, conclusion, law, and decision in order. So the change we've made is that once the board approves in open session, we vote, there's a motion and we vote on approving of the document. And then at the point that it is approved, then I read the decision of the board.
Right.
So I don't read the full document, but I'll read the decision. And then our plan is to look to email distribute it to DPP and then to the appellant, and that we feel fulfills the requirement to let the appellant know first, and then we will look to make the documents available for the public.
Terrific.
The full documents.
That's fantastic. How does the public then get a copy of the decision?
They would request it through our administrator.
I see. Okay, thank you. And then last question, in your frequently asked questions, you didn't give us any of the answers, but what can a person do if they disagree with the Building Board of Appeals?
So then they can go to circuit court to appeal. So they
Circuit
can,
court.
yeah, and a lot of these answers are read as we open up each of our hearings. And so this is just kind of getting the information out ahead of time, so that if they disagree with the decision that the Building Board of Appeals makes, then they can appeal to circuit court.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But only, they can't appeal further to the Building Board of Appeals. They can only appeal once.
Okay, perfect. Again, thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate you, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Hong? If there is no other questions, let's proceed on.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, are there any? Oh, we've got DPP.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Donna Puna, DPP. I apologize that I was late, so I missed some of the discussion, but I'm here to answer any questions about this resolution.
Any questions for the director? If not, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's proceed on, members of the zoning committee. We will now proceed with remote testimony. Madam Clerk, are there any remote testifiers?
Yes, we have a testifier standing by.
Okay, we have Miss Angela Young. Okay, Angela?
Aloha, Chair, and the Zoning Committee. Angela Melody Young testifying on behalf of CARES and strong support. So it's important to have the agenda posted in case others miss it, especially for those who have limited access and are unable to get to the agenda. So, the planners really have to think that out. And it's important to break it down with like maps and arrows and numbers and labels and like 1, 2, 3, for people who just have a hard time reading. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Members, any questions for Ms. Young? If not, let's proceed on. Madam Clerk, any further remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with in-person testimony. Madam Clerk, do we have any in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Okay. Members, at this point in time, we don't have any in-person testimony. We are now in discussion. If there is no discussion, the chair would like to recommend that Resolution 24-46 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. It is adopted. Moving on to agenda item number 2, Resolution 24-24. It's 5799 Kalana-Anaole Highway, New Valley, or I call it New, East Honolulu of 2023/SMA-89. This is granting a special management area major permit to Krisha TP and Nathan BK Wong to allow for the demolition of an existing single-family detached dwelling, carport, and accessory structure, and the construction of a new single-family detached dwelling with a 2-car garage, new concrete fence wall, driveway, and other improvements on an approximately 10,060 square foot shoreline lot zone R10 in a residential district, located at 5799 Kalana-Anaole Highway in Niu, East Honolulu, and identified as tax map key 3-7-002:005. Members, we have listed on the agenda an addendum as a proposed committee draft 1 version of the resolution. And for your information, a summary of the amendments is listed on the agenda addendum. Joining us in the council chamber, we have the applicants, Krisha and Nathan Wong, and joining us remotely by video conference, we have Mr. Mark Howland, their agent from Whale Environmental Services, to give a brief presentation of the project. For your information, the presentation for the public is available online as miscellaneous communication 88-20 of 2024. Okay, anybody from the applicant? Oh,
Good morning again, Chair. Oh, are we looking for the agent at this time?
Yes, I'm here.
I think that he's online.
oh, you're online. Okay, Mr. Howland?
Yes. I'm sorry, my wife was diagnosed with COVID yesterday. I was not. I didn't want to come down and chance you guys.
Please proceed.
Is my PowerPoint showing up on screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Wong family property on Kalani-Anaole Highway. This is to present what DPP approved the SMA permit for. This is Nathan and Krisha Wong, the owners of 5799 on the highway. We had sent through the environmental disclosure document, which is akin to an EA under ordinance 23-4 for approval. As such, DPP approved the project, and this is to have you affirm DPP's decision. The intent of the project is construction of a single-family residential home on that parcel. It replaces an existing home in largely the same footprint. The only thing that's changing is the existing home is 7 feet into the shoreline setback, and they're retreating outside the shoreline setback to conform to the requirements of shoreline setbacks. So different documents were circulated by different agencies. This is the locus of the property. As we all know, the state GIS system kind of shifts property lines. So the blue is what they show. It's actually the red that we drew in is pretty much the locus, correct locus. Essentially, it's first demo of the existing home. As you can see on the shoreline setback down in this back right corner, it does stick out into the shoreline setback about 7 feet, and has the new drawing. As you can see, the new house is moved closest to the to the highway and is outside the shoreline setback. I'm not going to quote Nate exactly correctly, but someone asked me at the DPP hearing, why are there 2 rooms above the garage? He has teenage sons who they don't want in the main house with them, as we all understand, who any of us who have had teenagers. So we went through all the different parameters required regarding hazmat, cultural erosion, flood zone, sea rise, climate changes, and we feel that it's been mitigated for by the design by the architects. These are some of the maps that were used. As you can see, to the left, the flood hazard assessment report. The VE zone is outside of the work area. The AE is where the work is going to be proposed. Hazmat locations on the right, even though there's a lot of releases, surprisingly, all around that area, there's none on the property itself. This is the regional map of the sea level rise. You can see most of this area all has issues with the 3.2, so mitigation for rise in the dwelling has to be required as part of the process. More specific, this is the actual site where the red balloon is, and as you can see, the entire site is in the 3.2 sea level rise. It's also in the Tasami excavation zone. The passive flooding is pretty much similar to the VE zoning line, flood line. The passive flooding is pretty much outside the work area proposed for the lot. These are site photos of the existing dwelling on the property and the existing backyard, which is basically grass with some pavers and a seawall down at the edge of the shoreline. As you can see, the vegetation line is pretty close to the shoreline, and the coastal erosion line comes up onto the lot. So this is basically, we try to make sure that we fit to the zoning for this property. This is residential 10 zoning. The lot is slightly over 10,000 square feet. So it's basically replacement of the existing dwelling with a new dwelling. The Wongs like to call it their forever home that eventually go down to their children if they ever leave, I guess. So basically, if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. Mahalo.
Okay, members, any questions for Mr. Howland at this point in time? No questions? Okay, let's proceed on to the Department of Planning and Permitting. Ms. Liz Kruger or Director Apuna.
Thank you, Chair. We are okay with the proposed CD1 on this SMA, but we're here to answer any questions that there may be.
Okay, members, any questions for the department? If there are no further questions, okay. I'm fine with the response as far as your comments, okay? At this point in time, we'll now proceed with remote testimony. Madam Clerk, do we have any remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time then, as from remote, we go to in-person testimony. Do we have any in-person testimony?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, members, at this point in time, we are in discussion for this particular project. Okay, Councilmember Kiana.
Thank you, Chair, and aloha, members of the committee. I understand with the new state law that recently went into effect, it requires major SMA permits for all shoreline lots, that individual families that have been planning their homes have had a short period of time to learn new processes and requirements. I think that is the case for this property. Although I am slightly discomforted with the lack of information that has been provided, however, I understand that an environmental assessment was done for the construction of the previous home and that the proposed CD includes a condition that would require that the applicant submit a written determination from Delanar Shipty prior to the issuance of any construction on building permit. So if the chair recommends we move this SMA approval out today, I will vote to move it forward with reservations, but I think we should remove the be it resolved clause on page 7 of the 3/1/2024 2:26 p.m. proposed CD. I understand why it was proposed. However, given the situation, I think it should be removed.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? How about the director? Would you like to respond to those questions?
Thank you, Chair. We're okay with the proposed amendment by Councilmember Kiaina.
Okay. Any other thoughts for the applicant? Is the applicant, Mr. Holland, would you like to respond to that question by?
Oh, I have no other further questions.
Okay.
Thank you for the.
Okay, the reason why the chair put this particular provision in is because the information that we have today is very negligible, but there was a cultural survey done prior to the building of that home. So we are using that to say that there are no valued cultural, historical, or natural resources in the project area. But the catch-all for all of us, for the members of this committee, you should look on page 4. Can everyone look on page 4, section E? In order to minimize impacts to known and unknown archaeological, historical, and cultural resources present at the project site, the applicant shall comply with the following measures. 1, prior to the issuance of any construction permit or building permit for the project, the applicant shall submit to DPP a copy of the written determination from the State Historic Preservation Division stating that SHPT has completed its review of the impact of the project on historic properties pursuant to Section 6E of 42 Hawaii Revised Statutes, and has determined whether any mitigative actions or protocols are required. 2, the applicant shall implement all mitigative actions and protocols required or recommended by SHPT in its written determination. And 3, if during construction any previously unidentified archaeological sites or remains such as artifacts, shell, bone, or charcoal deposits, human burials, rock or coral alignments, pavings, or walls are encountered, the applicant shall stop work, protect the find from further disturbance, and contact SHPT immediately. Work in the immediate area must be stopped until SHPT has assessed the impact and has made further recommendations for mitigative activity. In getting back to page 7, the reason why the chair had submitted this amendment was that at this point in time, we may not know, but we want the process to continue on. That's okay. Okay. So that is the reason why I wanted to leave this particular provision in the draft that we have before us.
Chair? Yes, we had put the same provision in the application. We have talked to Susan Lebo at Shifty. She says by the end of the month, she'll have the written determination. She's already given us the verbal that she's going to require immediate notification, as you indicated. If anything's encountered, Shifty is immediately notified, but she'll have the written one by the end of the month.
And may I correct for the general public at large and for the zoning committee members, where we say that be it further resolved that based on the information on file and the public testimony received by the council finds, that's why we had put in those provisions. Councilmember Kiana.
I understand that, but
Okay.
I would prefer that it be taken out.
Okay, and the chair's position is saying to all of you that I would like to leave it in making reference that there was no findings prior to this particular application.
I think we should go into executive session and talk to Corporation Counsel if that's your recommendation.
Okay, let's recess and go into executive. Okay, members, are there any objections to convening the executive session? Okay. Without objections, the committee convenes into a closed meeting pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statute, Section 92-4 and 92-5A4 to consult in a closed meeting with the attorneys on questions and issues pertaining to the council's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and/or liabilities relating to this measure. The following persons will be participating in the executive session. All council members are allowed at this point in time. Deputies of the Corporation Counsel, Mr. Eldon Lum of the Office of Council Services Staff, Ms. Laurie Hirooka of the Council Staff. And members, for the purpose of social distancing, well, we don't have to say that.
Chair?
Yeah,
I would like DPP to also be in here as well as my Chief of Staff.
okay, that's fine with me.
DPP as in Director
not a-
Puna and Liz Krieger?
If you want to say,
Can we-
pardon?
Can we add what DPP,
Yeah.
including
And DPP,
the
yes.
Director and Liz Krieger?
And would you want Mr. Mike Katz, who is our present interim archaeologist? That's
No.
the person that is an interim acting?
No,
No.
Mr. Katz?
no need. Just
Okay.
leadership.
Is that Mr.? Okay, who did we wanted
Liz, who just walked out the
Liz?
door.
Okay, so Liz
And Director Puna.
and Director Apuna. Okay, and my Chief of Staff, Ms. Janelle Cohen. Okay, any non-executive session staff and members of the public must vacate, and the council chamber and the video recording and audio broadcast of the meeting shall cease until reconvened from executive session. I will now call a recess. committee please come to order? After a very thorough discussion of about 45 minutes with the members of the zoning committee, there were some concerns in regards to one of the sections of the resolution that were of concern to members of the zoning committee. This is a very, very controversial issue, but more importantly, oh, now my staff said don't go into detail. Okay, I'll summarize it. God. So, see, you affected my train of thought. We had a lot of legal discussion, correct, with the Corporation Council, Department of Planning and Permitting, and the members of the Zoning Committee. So at this time, the chair would like to recommend that Resolution 24-24 be amended to the CD1 listed on the agenda addendum and be further amended to delete for the general public and for the audience and the individuals who are here to delete the bid further resolve clause on page 7 and to make a miscellaneous technical and non-substantive amendment. So that is the amendment proposed by the chair. So is that okay with the members of the zoning committee? Vice Chair, is that okay? Okay. I know, Andrea, are you okay? Chair Waters, okay. Vice Chair Kiaina, okay. Councilmember Cordero, okay. And Councilmember Wire.
Okay.
Great. So if there is no further discussion, the chair would like to recommend the resolution has amended to a CD1. The chair then recommends that resolution 2424 CD1 be reported out for adoption. Thank you very much for the 45-minute discussion. 45 minutes of discussion, and there are no objections or reservations. Hearing none, so ordered. It is adopted. Thank you very much for all of your patience. May we move on to agenda number 3. Resolution 24-38. This resolution grants a special management area major permit to Ono Vista Association of Apartment Owners to replace an existing on-site wastewater treatment system at the Ono Vista condominium with a new above-ground component system and disinfection system, and various equipment and electrical improvements on approximately 51,656 square feet of land zone A2. A2, which is a medium-density apartment district located at 68-024 Apuihi Street in Wailua and identified as tax map key 6-8-011:058. Members, we have listed on the agenda the addendum of a proposed CD1 version of the resolution. For your information, a summary of the amendments is listed on the agenda addendum. Joining us remotely by video conference, we have Mr. Stephanie Davis from Environmental Science International to give a brief presentation of the project. For your information, the presentation is available online as Miscellaneous Communication 82-2024. Okay, Ms. Davis.
Good morning, council members. Can everybody hear me fine?
Please proceed.
Okay, let me share my screen here. So I believe everyone has a copy of this same presentation. The presentation, I'm presenting on behalf of Ono Vista Condominiums, and the presentation here has quite a bit of detail, but I'm just going to provide a brief summary. So as you mentioned, it's to replace the current wastewater treatment system. So the proposed project is replacing the existing wastewater treatment system with a new system, and the new system is currently connected to 3 permitted injection wells. So they'll continue using the existing permitted injection well disposal system, and those are permitted with a UIC permit through the Safe Drinking Water Branch. And just due to the age of the system and the conditions of the residents, they did notice after COVID that a lot more people were working from home, and it increased the effluent and the wastewater that was leaving the building. So at this time, The current system is just having difficulty keeping up with the amount of wastewater flow, and also the injection wells were becoming clogged. So currently they have been having a pumping company come to haul off the wastewater multiple times a week, and that's been very costly to them. And then also after the Department of Health did an inspection, the wastewater branch, that was an inspection by the wastewater branch, they recommended upgrading the existing system. So to accommodate the current present day flows, and just because the system is beyond its typical service life of 40 years, it was actually installed when the building was constructed. So it is in a residential area, and there's agricultural land to the south across Wailua Beach Road. And let me just scroll down to the figure here, give you a better idea. So you can see it's about 300 feet from the Pacific Ocean to the north, and then this area to the south is agricultural land, but there's residents in the immediate vicinity, some just individual homes, and then also some other condominium buildings. And then to the east here is the Dole Park. And the surface elevation there is about 4 feet above mean sea level. And as I mentioned, it's about 300 feet from the shoreline. So the system that they're proposing is going to be in the exact location where the current system is. They're just proposing a more robust system that will be better for cleaning the wastewater and producing a much cleaner effluent. So here's some details of the new system. We're going to have use the existing wet well, which is also a lift station. It's going to have a preloader tank, a primary treatment tank, followed by UV disinfection system, and then the effluent after being treated will be disposed in the 3 injection wells. The main components of the wastewater treatment plant consist of 4 fiberglass reinforced plastic treatment tanks, and those are going to be proposed to be installed on concrete pads within the same area where the current system is. So the current system is below ground, and the proposed system is proposed above ground. There's also a pool house just to the north, so I'll flash back to the figure in a moment. So there's the dimensions there of the 4 tanks that are being proposed. Most of them are between 24 feet long to 20 feet long, and they're all about approximately 10 feet high. The electrical service for them will be provided by HECO, but they also do have an emergency diesel generator for backup power. And then all the supporting infrastructure, such as the blowers, will be installed in the room that's just off of the current pool house. So let me just scroll down here, give you a better idea. So you can see this is the proposed area of the new system, and then the outlines of the 4 tanks, the 4 proposed tanks there. So this area is currently enclosed with a 6-foot-high wooden fence, and the proposal is to restore that wooden fencing after the new system's installed. There's the condominium building here on the right side and a condominium building here on the left. So the pool and the wastewater treatment system are currently in the center of the property. And then there's Puhihi Street to the west and Owl Street to the right. Both of these have access driveways into the property. And then this is the proposed elevation view plane of what the tanks will look like with the 6-foot fence installed. So there will be a slight amount of the tank above the fence, but really the area is only visible to the Ono Vista residents. They did take into consideration the impacts from tsunamis and floods. So the tank material will be able to withstand any flooding or inundation from tsunami water. They've also accounted for sea level rise. So we did do a sea level rise evaluation due to the distance to the ocean. A 3.2 foot sea level rise, which is predicted by 2060, would not affect the area of the wastewater treatment plant, but a 6'9" sea level rise predicted by 2080 could potentially affect the wastewater treatment plant, but that's anticipated to be beyond the lifetime of this proposed system. So if that ever happened in the future, then the system would be decommissioned, or they would find alternative measures to remove the wastewater effluent. And an environmental assessment was prepared for the project prior to the SMA permit application, and a determination of finding of no significant impact was made by DPP. So again, just here's the property and the vicinity, and then some details about the system. The 3 injection wells are here on the right-hand side. I'm sorry, they're kind of hard to see. So right here in the middle of this parking lot in a vertical line, there's 3 here. And then just here's a few photos of the area. So this is just from the street, outside of the buildings, and then this is in the parking lot. The wastewater treatment system is just to the left here. And then here's the entrance to the existing system with the fencing. The fencing is proposed to be replaced. And then this is the interior where the current existing treatment plant is located. So that will just be excavated and removed and backfilled with clean soil. And then the 4 new treatment tanks are proposed to be above ground inside this area. And that concludes my presentation. If there's any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions? I'll defer first to the council member that represents the area. Councilmember Wire, any questions for Ms. Davis?
No, thank you, Chair. I just, mahalo for the presentation and the information, and just wanted to clarify. So I know in February 2023, I believe folks reached out to the North Shore Neighborhood Board, and I just wanted to confirm any outcomes from that communication.
Yes, we did reach out to them, and they said they did not desire a presentation at the community board, and then at the community board or neighborhood board meeting, and then we did distribute the draft EA and the final EA to them, and they acknowledged receipt of that and had no comments.
Mahalo, I appreciate your due diligence on that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Davis? Councilmember Tupola? Nope. Councilmember DeSantos Tan, Vice Chair. Chair Waters? Chair, Councilmember Kaina, and Councilmember Cordero? No. Okay, Ms. Davis, that was fantastic. Thank you very much. And please stand by.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Okay, let's move on to the administration. Director Don Takeuchi Apuna. Director.
Thank you, Chair. We have no objections to the CD1. Thank you. And we're available for any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, are there any remote testimony at this point?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now proceed with in-person testimony. Madam Clerk, do we have any in-person testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Members, at this point, we are in discussion on the Ono Vista. Yes, please. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair. This is for Director Apuna. I was just wondering, relating to the actual wastewater treatment, I know that in the presentation they mentioned that it was the treatment, the wastewater treatment was in existence for about 40 years or more than 40 years. And so is there a requirement now that DPP has for such wastewater treatment systems?
Oh, because it's 40 years old? I don't believe so. No. Well, I have Steve Tagawa, the planner, who can provide more details.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve Tagawa, staff planner. So we don't have any, criteria. We rely on the Department of Health. I don't think there was a citation noted. Sometimes those they get the benefit of, proactively doing something before actually being cited for some kind of violation.
Okay, thank you. And so now with the new wastewater treatment system, there's not going to be any further requirements or parameters to have to reinstall new systems every 30, 20 years?
Oh, I'm not sure about the interval for, the longevity, but there's reporting requirements as part of the permitting.
And what are the reporting requirements, and who does it go to? Does it go to DPP, or does it go to ENV, or who?
The Department of Health, they have.
Department of Health, okay.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Clean water.
Clean water, okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions, members, for Mr. Tagawa? If not, okay. If there is no further discussion, the chair would like to recommend that Resolution 24-38 be amended to the Committee Draft 1 listed on the agenda addendum and as further amended to delete, once more for the members of the Zoning Committee, to delete the be it further resolved clause on page 4. Oh, did I take testimony? Yeah, you did. Yes, Mr. Lam. Okay, no problem. Okay, well, let's start it all over again. The chair recommends that Resolution 24-38 be amended to the Committee Draft 1 listed on the agenda addendum as further amended to delete the bid further resolve clause on page 4 and to make miscellaneous and non-substantive amendments. Members, any discussion, any objections or reservations? Hearing none, the resolution has been amended to a Committee Draft 1. The chair then recommends that Resolution 24-38 Committee Draft 1 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, any objections, any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Thank you very much. Moving on to page 9, item number 4. This resolution grants another special management area major permit to the state of Hawaii, the Department of Education, to allow for the replacement of an existing track and field facility at Waianae High School with a new synthetic surface track and new synthetic turf field, relocation of track events, including pole vault, long jump, high jump, and shot put, concrete sidewalk and slab improvements, primarily to replace an existing accessible sidewalk to the visitors' bleachers, and drainage improvements on approximately, 1,036,728 square feet of land zone P2. P2, which is General Preservation District, located at 85-251 Farrington Highway in Waianae and identified as tax map key 8-5-002:018. Members, we have listed on the agenda addendum a proposed Committee Draft 1 version of the resolution. For your information, a summary of the amendments is listed on the agenda addendum. Joining us in the council chamber, we have Ms. Amanda Waki and John Muraoka from Fukunaga and Associates to give you folks a brief presentation of the project. For your information, the presentation is available online as Miscellaneous Communication 83 of 2024. Okay, Ms. Waki or Mr. Muraoka? Oh, hi.
Good morning, council members. I'm Amanda Waki with Fukunaga and Associates. We are the design consultant for the State Department of Education on this project. So I wanted to start off with an aerial of the Waianae High School campus. You can see on the left side the existing track and field built in 1957 over near the coast. This is zooming in a little closer to see the existing grass field and dirt track. You can also see a man-made ditch on the right side. And something that's not shown in this photo is in around 2017, bleachers were built on the Mackay side of the track. So the existing track and field is used for practices, games, and competitions for multiple sports. It is also used by the physical education program and for commencement. Since its original construction, the existing track and field has only undergone minor repairs for things such as fixing the irrigation system, resurfacing the track, and repair or replacing the track bridges that go over that man-made drainage channel. The proposed project will replace the existing cinder track and grass field with a new synthetic turf field and a new all-weather synthetic surface track. The proposed project will also relocate several track events to adjacent areas. So the track events are currently on or right next to the field, and they'll be relocated to areas that will show on an upcoming drawing. And this will allow the soccer field to be reconstructed to meet size and clearance guidelines of the NFHS. So that those are federal, or not federal, national guidelines. So project scope, as I mentioned, it's to replace the existing cinder track with a new synthetic track, and that goes on top of AC pavement. It's also to replace existing natural grass field with a new synthetic turf field, and that will be constructed over a new crushed rock base and sub-drainage system. Project also includes relocating the track events, including pole vault, long jump, high jump, and shot put. Includes concrete sidewalk improvements, and this is primarily to reconstruct the existing sidewalk to the visitor bleachers, or actually more to relocate it. It also includes drainage improvements and other miscellaneous items, and the estimated construction cost is $6 million. Okay, so I won't read through this list, but as described in our SMA application, we are consistent with the objectives, policies, and guidelines for the SMA. For many of these items, there is no change from our project since it currently uses existing track and field, and we're using the same footprint. You know, beach access is not changed, views aren't changed. We did talk to SHPD and have them review the project, and they agreed with the determination of no impact. And one thing is that it is in the 3.2-foot sea level rise by 2100, but that is well beyond the life of this project, and it's only for a small portion of the area.
Hi. Good morning, council members. My name is John Muro-Oak. I'm with Fukunaga & Associates here to present the plans. So this is the general plan shown here, showing the new track and field facility and its location. It's going in the exact same location. Okay. This is the layout here showing you the track and field. I know all this hatching, you can see the track lanes there going around the oval. Then the inner portion is going to be synthetic turf. And you can see the field event shapes out there on the peripheral outside of the track oval. You can see the long jump, triple jump, the pole vault, shot put, and the high jump areas right outside the perimeter of the track. Okay, this is basically showing a color graphic of what the track and field facility will look like. You can see the red is going to be the synthetic track area, and then the green areas and the blue areas, and white is going to be synthetic turf. The white, of course, going across on the right side is the man-made drainage channel, which will remain untouched. Okay, so just to go over some kind of, give you an idea of what the field construction looks like, yeah. They basically will do demolition. They're gonna just prepare the base, the AC part of the pavement, and then the crushed rock base for the synthetic turf field. And they'll do some utility work, which is the sub-drain system. And from there, they'll install the track and the turf, and they'll clean up after that. And here's some photos just to give you a better idea of construction. This is typical asphalt pavement going down to receive synthetic track surfacing. Installation of synthetic track surfacing. Track surfacing, striping. Okay, and then these are just facilities here that are similar. So basically you're gonna see your synthetic turf field get its sub-drain system dug in, crushed rock base for the synthetic turf field, graded to current grade, and then installation of the synthetic turf gets rolled out like carpet sewn together, and then all these other pieces like numbers and yard marks and hash marks will be cut in place. Okay. And from there, the track and field will be finished similar to these photos here. And they will get turf maintenance equipment for their use. Okay, and that's just the project in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moroka and Ms. Waki. At this point in time, I'll defer to the council member from the area, Council Member Tupola. Any questions for the testifiers?
Yeah, thank you so much. Quick question, and I don't know if it's for the testifiers or maybe for DPP, but it does say on page 2, letter C, some of the requirements for replacements of light, but just for clarity, we are not doing any light fixtures, correct? It says all new replacement outdoor light fixtures must not exceed this, they must do that, but for clarity, we're just doing the field and the track, correct?
Yes, that is correct. The existing lights will remain, and we will not be touching the lights themselves.
Yeah, I just wanted to make mention of that. I don't know if that's just standard that you guys put it in the reso, but although we would like to have new lights, it's not part of this project. So I guess the requirements for that are not necessary. My other question, and maybe this is for DPP, is just recently, last year, we also gave it.
Later on, they'll be coming up.
Oh, they're coming up later.
This is just for the applicant.
I guess last question for the applicant. Can you just quickly go over the timeline once you get the SMA? Will you guys be implementing this next summer?
So we're hoping to get the SMA, and construction is waiting. A contractor has received the notice to proceed and is awaiting the building permit, which is awaiting the SMA, and anticipate construction starting right after commencement, which is in May
May 2025?
2024.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Just like that, huh?
Mhm.
Very nice. Well, we're excited to see how this comes together with the Waianae Girls Locker Room. So thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Chair.
Waianae is very excited also.
Any further questions? Council Member Tupola? No? Okay, Vice Chair DeSantos Tam, any questions for Waianae? Chair Waters? Council Member Cordero? They're competing with Farrington. No. Council Member Wire?
No questions.
Okay, great. Let's proceed on to Department of Planning and Permitting.
Thank you, Chair. We have no objections to the CD1, and we have Alex Beatty who can answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Alex Beatty? Yes, Council Member Tupola.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys doing the presentation at Waianae Library for a few community members, just to keep everyone in the loop. 2 brief questions. In regards to the resolution and the reference to lighting, that would be letter C, 1, 2, 3. Are those necessary? Is that standard in a DPP resolution?
Those are standard conditions.
Okay.
Hello, Council. Alex Beatty, DPP. Those are indeed standard conditions for all SMA permits.
And then do you have any projection, or was the SMA already completed and construction or granted to the Waianae Girls Locker Room? This was last year's one.
I'm not sure of the status of that, but I do know that there are other forthcoming projects at Waianae High School as well that we're anxiously awaiting to process.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone on DOE is online. I'm just mentioning this because these are quite, large projects for the school. So just making sure that all of it is lining up.
Yeah, understood. That may be a question that the agent can answer, though.
I don't think they're in charge of the girls' locker room. It was a different company.
Okay, forgive me. Forgive me.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Vice Chair DeSantos Tam? Okay. Chair Waters? Vice Chair Kiaina? No. Okay. Council Member Cordero? No. And Council Member Wire?
No, Chair.
No? Okay, great. Let's move on to remote testimony. Madam Clerk, do we have any remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
All right. And now in-person testimony. Do we have anyone with in-person testimony?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, please. Please come on up.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Honolulu City Council. My name is Cross Crab. I'm here on behalf of the Office of Representative Cedric Gates, the representative of this area. We stand in support for this resolution. We've been advocating really hard for this project from all the years I've been within the Office of Representative Gates, and also Representative Gates himself before I was with him. We were hoping that this project would be done by commencement, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it would be that way. But we are very hopeful that it will be done by the start of the new school year, so that at least this next upcoming year's football team and other sports that would be using the field would be able to use the new field. Our community's been waiting a long time. The conditions of the field have basically been the same since I was a child. So we are really looking forward to these new conditions and the new field, and we're really thankful for all of the contractors and planners that have put their effort and work into this as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Rep. Gates and yourself for being part of this. I want to add for the record that even though the field hasn't been touched, it's still like the best looking view ever in any football field of DOE because it just overlooks the ocean and it's beautiful. But we would like the view to match the turf.
Yes.
And the bleachers and the lights. So we're excited for this, and I just want to thank your office for advocating and as well to the senator. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further questions for the Chief of Staff for Representative Gates? If not, okay, Madam Clerk, is there anyone else in person?
Chair, there's none.
Okay, let's move on. We are in discussion. Any discussion? If not, then the chair would like,
Just real
Chair
quick.
Waters, yes.
No, I want to congratulate the community and Councilmember Tupola. She's right. The view there is fantastic. And just on a side note, I ran track back in the 80s. The only synthetic field there was at Kaiser High School. And it was beautiful. But it's so great to see the DOE building these beautiful football fields and track all over the island. So congratulations. Looking forward to seeing it get done. And only other concern I had, in McKinley, they built a beautiful track, but no bleachers. So you couldn't watch the game. So hopefully they got bleachers coming so that the community can enjoy, because we love our football. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further discussion?
Chair, briefly?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair Waters, for your kind comments. It's been a long time coming, and like I mentioned earlier, we want to see this paired up with the new girls' locker room that they're building, which we also want, for our Title IX and as well for equity amongst our women's sports. Athletics is important, not just to Waianae High School, but to our community. It helps to encourage healthy lifestyles, build community contributors in our youth, and encourage them to be better problem solvers and avoid disease. And so I think the overall effects of the field and of course the pride that it'll bring to the school will do a lot for the community, and just wanted to ensure that we'll also be removing the penultimate be it resolved clause. And further, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, at this point in time, the chair would like to recommend that Resolution 24-39 be amended to the Committee Draft 1 listed on the agenda addendum, and then as further amended to delete the be it further resolved clause on page 4, and to make miscellaneous and non-substantive amendments. Any discussion, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, the resolution has been amended to a CD1. The chair then recommends that Resolution 24-39 CD1 be reported out for adoption. Any discussion, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Let's move on to agenda number 5. Resolution 24-23. This resolution approves a conceptual plan for an interim plan development transit project proposed by Ikinakea Hokele LLC to allow for the construction of a new 15-story, 200-foot tall hotel building and the renovation of an existing historic warehouse on land zone BMX4 Community Business Mixed Use District within the Downtown Neighborhood Transit-Oriented Development Plan area located at 128 North Limits and identified as tax map key 1-7-002:013, comma 023, and comma 050. Members, we have listed on the agenda addendum a proposed committee draft 1 version of the resolution. For your information, a summary of the amendments is listed on the agenda addendum. Members, a presentation of the project was made at the committee's meeting on February 7th of 2024. For your information, the presentation is available online as Miscellaneous Communication 50 of 2024. Members, the CD1 version of the resolution listed on the agenda addendum includes, among other things, an increase in the one-time cash contribution amount to be deposited into the city's Affordable Housing Fund. The amount was increased from 2.8 million to 3.169 million. I wanted to discuss how this amount was calculated, and the calculation also appears in paragraph K.5 of the summary listed on the addendum agenda. The applicant's original calculation of the value of the project's bonus height and density was based on an estimate of the hotel revenue generated by the additional hotel units that the bonus height and density would allow. Since this is the first IPDT project that proposes to develop a hotel without having any residential component, we wanted to be sure that we're using a fair and consistent comparison of the valuation of the bonus height and density. Also, since this project does not have any residential component, instead of providing affordable units, the project was proposing a one-time cash contribution to the city's Affordable Housing Fund. So we wanted to look at what would be an equitable cash contribution amount in lieu of the actual construction of affordable housing. For other IPDT projects, the valuation of the bonus height and density was for the most part based on construction costs per square foot. We asked the applicant to provide this cost per square foot, which the applicant did provide at about $466 a square foot. As discussed in the CD1 summary, the calculation is based on the bonus height and density for the project, equating to an additional 42,104 square foot of floor area, which is equal to 80 additional hotel units. The 80 additional hotel units is approximately 30% of the total 240 hotel units. The cost to develop the hotel tower at $466 per square foot is then multiplied by the additional 42,104 square foot of bonus floor area, which equals a valuation of $19,620,464. 30% of that 19,620, 464 valuation equals 5,886,000. 5,886,000 minus the 2.7 million value of the other community benefits being provided equals to 3.169 million, which is the amount of the cash contribution to be deposited into the city's Affordable Housing Fund. At this time, I would like to propose a verbal amendment to condition G4, which is the bus stop improvements as a community benefit, to provide that the improvements must be implemented prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the project, instead of prior to the issuance of a building permit for the project. For your information, the written request for a 60-day extension of time from Patrick Segurant, the applicant's agent, is available online as Miscellaneous Communication number 90 of 2024. At this time, we're open to have the Department of Planning and Permitting Director Apuna.
Thank you, Chair. We have no objections to the CD1 or the proposed verbal amendment, and we're available for any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, any questions for the department? Okay, yep. Vice Chair DeSantos Tam.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the explanation of how we arrived at the affordable housing contribution. As I asked in the previous hearing, is there any assurance that a single dollar of this contribution is going to be used for affordable housing in that area, whether it's Chinatown or the Evil A, Chinatown, downtown TOD areas? Again, I have no objection to this other than if we're going to put a hotel in Chinatown, which is a positive use, and we're also going to say it's going to come with affordable housing, I want to make sure that that area gets a first crack at it. Is there any, can you make any assurance to me?
Director Apuna?
So I don't think we can earmark the funds specifically, but we definitely hear you, and we'll go back and see how we can maybe have it directly benefit that community. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions for the director? If not, Madam Clerk, are there any remote testifiers?
Chair, there are none.
Okay. Are there any in-person testimony? Okay, please come on up.
Okay.
Okay, Ivan, please.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Aloha Chair Say, Vice Chair Dos Santos Tam, members of the committee. Thank you for this opportunity to testify. My name is Ivan Ho. I'm representing Unite Here Local 5. Unite Here Local 5 represents 10,000 working people in the hotel, healthcare, and food service industries in Hawaii. We stand on our testimony in support of Resolution 24-23, approving the conceptual plan for a hotel at 128 North Nimitz Highway. We believe that the developer has shown a real willingness to work with the community on creating a thoughtful project that can play a positive role in revitalizing the Chinatown downtown area. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Madam Clerk, are there any further testifiers in person?
Chair, there are none.
Okay, members, are there any discussion? Nope. Okay, at this time, the chair would like to recommend that Resolution 24-23 be amended to the committee draft 1 listed on agenda addendum as further amended as we discussed to amend condition G4 relating to the bus stop improvements as a community benefit to provide that the improvements must be implemented prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the project, instead of prior to the issuance of the building permit for the project. Are there any discussion? Any objections or reservations? Hearing none, the resolution has been amended to a committee draft 1. The chair then recommends that Resolution 24-23 and the committee draft 1 version that was approved by the committee be reported out for scheduling of a public hearing and thereafter be referred back to the committee. Any further discussions, objections, or reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. The chair notes that the time needed to consider Resolution 24-23 will exceed the current deadline for council action. Therefore, the chair further recommends that the resolution be granted a 60-day extension of time pursuant to the request from the applicant's agent in miscellaneous communication 90 of 2024. Any discussion? Any objections? Any reservations? Hearing none, so ordered. Being no further discussion or business, the meeting is now adjourned.